Are you a defensive back that's in a really big struggle right now? Not able to cover anyone? I mean, you are just getting done up? Well, this is the video for you. We're gonna talk about getting you out of that slump today on DB Tip Clips. All right, well, we've all been there. I don't care how great of a cover man you are. You have those times where you just get into a slump and everything's working. I'm talking slants, curls, 9 routes, everything on the tree is open. Today, I'm gonna give you 4 great ways to get yourself out of that slump. And one of these is a major key. I'm talking a DJ Khaled major key. So you're gonna wanna hang around and find out which one of these are the major key. Before we do that though, I do have a question for you. And I know you guys are gonna have some pretty good answers to this, so I'm gonna wanna hear your answers. What route gives you the most trouble when you are in man coverage? Go ahead and hit me in the comments about that. And of course, if this is your first time here or you are been neglecting to do so, go ahead and subscribe to the channel. And I got a couple of things that I want you guys to check out. That's my All Eyes DB Camp members area, over 200 videos in there talking about technique, coverage analysis, and as well as strategies and all kinds of good stuff that you can need there. And there's the Ultimate Defensive Back Reference Guide. Of course, it's my ebook, 101 DB Tips. Go ahead and get that. It's the best thing you can take with you into this season, a book that you can reference and talk about and try to find out information on some of the things that are gonna happen to you throughout this season. So make sure you get that. I'm gonna have a link to that down in the description below. But let's talk about these 4 tips. Here they come at you right now. Being a defensive back, especially a cornerback, can be much like being a batter in a game in baseball. Sometimes you're really on point, and other times you're off. While being on point 30% of the time in baseball is good, definitely not as a cornerback or safety in coverage. Either way though, sometimes you're hot, sometimes you're not. Really good batters in baseball do get into slumps, but the difference between them and the average hitter is that they don't get into prolonged slumps, because we know those are the worst, and that really separates the good guys from the bad guys in terms of being hitters in baseball. Now the same applies to cornerbacks. They get into slumps too, but they don't last very long, and there's some good reasons why. So let's talk about the 4 things that can help you get out of a coverage slump as a defensive back quickly. The first thing is having good self-awareness. If you've ever been to a doctor and he asks you to cough, or you've been to a mechanic that asks you to start the car, oftentimes they can tell what's wrong with just by you doing those simple things. As a defensive back, you have to have the awareness of a doctor or mechanic. Certain mistakes in coverage relate to certain things you're doing or not doing. The better and quicker that you can realize that, the faster you can make adjustments and turn things around. So, for instance, missing the jam all the time at the line of scrimmage, and that happens to guys sometimes, that typically means you're probably letting your eyes drift up at the moment the wide receiver moves off the line of scrimmage. Or let's say you're getting stacked all the time as you go down the field on your routes. That means you're not turning and getting up the field at the proper angle. A really good defensive back can quickly take the result and relate it back to a specific action he is doing wrong and correct it. The faster you can do that, the quicker you can get yourself out of your slumps. 2, study yourself on film. I'm amazed at how many guys don't do this. If your practices are filmed, and they should be, you have to study yourself on film. You won't get better at the rate you want if you don't go back and watch your actions on film. Oftentimes, we're so wrapped up in the moment and the fast-moving action that's happening in front of us that we don't realize a lot of what we're doing in real time. That's where film comes in. Many times you'll watch yourself on film and you see yourself doing things you didn't think you were doing. Sometimes you think your coach is lying or he's just picking on you. When you watch film, you realize, oh yeah, my feet are too wide. Or you listen to your coach, but you watch yourself on film to pick up things that he may have missed. Maybe, he's got a lot of guys to watch out there. After all, you should know better than anyone else how you operate on the field. After watching your movement on film, you should be better able to make corrections. So make sure you study yourself on film. Watch those practice films. Don't just let them go by. And now number 3, major key alert. Number 3 is get back to basics. When a batter gets in a slump in baseball, they usually don't go to a pitching machine to have it throw 120 miles an hour. You know what they do? They go all the way back to childhood. They drag out the tee and they start hitting balls off of it. They start all over and climb back to the top to where they get hot. Sometimes we get so bogged down in details and trying new things that we lose ourselves. Also, wide receivers make adjustments to what you're doing and our tactics. So, they stop working because they've made adjustments. In the midst of trying all these new things and trying to improve, we forget the basic. When the slump hits, we can't get jams, we can't get in phase, or even make a play on the ball, it's time to get back to basics. Start doing the basic drills all over again. Make that your focus. Reintroduce yourself to the basic things that you've probably moved away from doing. As you do that, you climb back to where you were before, and sometimes you get some clues as to where you went wrong before. It might even keep you away from that next slump that was gonna come your way. So major key, number 3, get back to basics. And now number 4 is super important as well. Put in the extra work. You watch yourself on film and you have good self-awareness, so it's time to make your corrections. These corrections require some extra time. Along with your daily drills and routines with your team, you're going to need to carve out some extra time for your self-improvement. You should be doing this anyway, but if you aren't and now you're in a slump, you're going to have to get into doing it. If your steps are wrong or your eyes are wrong, etc., spend some time pre-practice or post-practice drilling yourself on these corrections. These problems don't just solve themselves. It will take some extra time to get back into the groove. So while everyone is going into the locker room to tell lies about the girls that they like or anything else that comes to mind when you get in that locker room, you're gonna stay out on that field doing the things that get the girls and the offers to roll in. That extra work is gonna get you out of that slump and get you right back to where you need to be. All right, so let's review. We have established that slumps suck. But if you are in one, there's 4 ways you're gonna get yourself out of it. Number 1 is you're gonna have to have some self-awareness. Understand the things that are happening to you out on the field so that you know what you need to do. Now you're gonna need to do it. But one of the better ways to figure out what's happening to you is to study yourself. That's number 2. Watch the practice film. A lot of guys don't do that. Watch the practice film and study yourself. Number 3, which was the major key. When you hit that slump, get back to the basics. Now that you're not hot, let's get back to the stuff that got you to where you were hot. Start all over again, get back to the basics. And number 4, put in the extra work. Man, you can't be in a slump and go in that locker room and act like everything is okay. Devote some time pre-practice or post-practice to working on those corrections, and let's get you back to where you need to be. You also want to avoid a slump? Get into that All Eyes DB Camp members area or grab that 101 DB Tips book. It's going to help you stay on point all season long. Check out the links down below. And before you guys check out of here, remember the question. What route by the wide receivers gives you the most trouble when you're in man coverage? Go ahead and drop that answer in the comments section down below. Looking forward to hearing that. All right? And as always, guys, I appreciate you watching the video. Go ahead and subscribe, give it a like, and share it with your friends who may also be in a slump and are about to hit the bottle right now. Okay? Again, guys, as always, thanks for watching All Eyes DB Camp. Consistency breeds results.